Florida, also still a problem. Even without guys like Chuck, without oh my God, Barkov. If I fucking forgot.
Tkachuk is supposed to play, I think.
Yeah, Tkachuk should be back. Barkov's close-ish. But since Barkov was out, Sam Reinhart just decided to go all the way off. He's leading the league in points as well, along with Makar with 12. They are terrifyingly good again. So I would say, again, like you're probably hoping to at least go like 500 there. You probably, as long as they're staying in games and look like they're competing. Or, I mean, going back and forth, like I wouldn't rule out them picking off one of those either. But again, if they get blown out, then I'm like, uh-oh, okay, a little reality check here. But yeah, no, that's going to be a tough swing for sure. They should beat Philly. Philly looks bad. Like they look bad. But shout out Michkov getting those first 2 goals in Calgary. Yep. In Pittsburgh, I mean, you could talk about Pittsburgh, but I mean, oh my God, Malkin. Oh my God. If Getty Malkin looks like he gives a fuck, it is terrifying.
He gives lots of shits. That's for sure. His demise was greatly exaggerated.
Yeah, what a mistake by the hockey world or anyone really that was just saying anything like, oh, he's bad.
No, he's the kind of guy, like we talk about these players all the time, right? It's engagement. Like when he's engaged, look the fuck out. Problem is, it's not always there, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get him off. So, like, I get the criticisms, but I still think it's like hilarious that he's been so, I don't know, disrespected is maybe a little harsh.
I think you can,
shit, but
you can permanently say that he's been disrespected once he got left off the top 100.
100,
like,
yeah,
that gives him permanent fucking like permission to say that he's been disrespected.
Like, I'm sorry, is it crazy for me to say that he is like notedly better than both Duncan Keith and Jonathan Toews?
No, it's not a problem at all for me.
I'll give Kane the nod. I get it, but like I think Jonathan Toews is one of the more overrated players. Period. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad hockey player. He's a good hockey player. Bad leader, bad captain, but he's I don't know. People have like heralded him and like compared him side by side with Crosby, and I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, no. When Malkin, dude, like, which play was it? The 09, or actually both 08 and 09. Malkin was like, "I'm going to take over every single fucking game, including when I get decapitated at one end. I'm going to go in on a breakaway 2 seconds later and rip a slap shot. Like that's what I'm going to do." When he was just like he was single-handedly by himself taking over playoff hockey games, winning them cups. It like he is a fucking animal. What's he got? 11 points? The second league in points right now?
Oh, he's torching right now, yeah. And him and Crosby, of course, like both hit milestones in the same game. And my buddy, who's a Sabres fan, like texted me and he's like, "What happens if like those two things coincide on the same puck?" And my only response was, "3-year Super League."
So that's shit is so funny to me. It's just like, okay, I guess I'll go.
Crosby would have cut that shit in half.
Yeah, 100%.
Which actually would make it way cooler.
Exactly. I mean, talk about Pittsburgh then. It's a mixed bag.
It's not great. It sucks when it's the same shit as last year, where it's like, oh, the guys you need to be going are going. Other shit's derailing it, which actually, like, their forward group, top to bottom, I don't really have complaints.
Lars Eller scored goals.
Their third line is actually like looking like a competent third line, which hasn't been the case in a while. Jesse Puljujärvi has people talking. That says everything you need it to. For me, it's funny, like going to Winnipeg and they got the, "Where is Rutger" chant going, which, like, I love that. You need to do that. You have to. I don't know. He needs to be in the NHL playing meaningful minutes, I'd say, before the new year. Otherwise, I'm going to be really disappointed. It's fine that he got sent down. I hope that they didn't just do it because they're cowards and didn't want him to play against Winnipeg, but so be it.
I mean, yeah, Jaeger's in the WHL right now, so.
He's also a year younger.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I was also like, I mean, the fucking poor kid. Like, I mean, it's gonna happen when you ask to fucking get traded out of Winnipeg. It's going to
100%. Like, he has every right to do it. They have every right to boo. Like, sorry. And the goaltending is just the problem. It's the headline. And so on What Chaos, of course, shitting on Pittsburgh, which it's deserved. But people are coming after the Erik Karlsson trade again. And of course, they have to like give a nod to friend of the show, Mike Grinnell, which like he is not a friend of our show. Never will be. They still go back to him like calling that this was such a horrible trade. Oh, that's going to look so bad as that contract ages if you guys really want to compete. Like, he is that dumb that is how he would understand it. I believe this. It doesn't shock me. The trade literally offloaded 3 like albatross contracts. Now, Kyle Dubas didn't do himself any favors when he went and used that money to re-sign Tristan Jarry and to sign Ryan Graves, which I'll still go on record. I liked the Graves signing at the time, and I'm very, very wrong. Not the dollars of the term necessarily, but I liked him as a player, and I'm wrong. But like Erik Karlsson was brought in because it was a quick patch that was needed if they wanted to compete right away, which is what they were trying to do. They were trying to avoid this, like, what do they call it? A rebuild on the fly, a retool? I don't know. Like, that was a management mandate or an ownership mandate more than a management one. And he's still a good hockey player. There's just going to be a lot of liberties taken at your end of the ice when him and Chris Letang are your featured defensemen. That's just kind of what you signed up for. It'd be nice if they had a better goalie.
And like, I mean, I don't know if people just choose to not know this, but like, I mean, that's been the story with Erik Karlsson literally forever. So like, you know,
he had a short stretch though in Ottawa where like he actually looked like he was a pretty strong defensive guy too. It wasn't long lived, but there was like a 1 or 2 season stretch there where it was like, oh shit, he can do everything. Cool.
Yeah, when he was like fully able to move.
That helps.
Yeah.
Like he single-handedly almost beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in 2016.
That like this close.
By himself. Like there was no one else. That was it.
That was like, first of all, it sucked for me personally because they beat the Bruins in the first round or whatever. But like that playoff run, like that team was so much fun. And like,
but it was confusing.
Hammer the overs, over and over. That Rangers series, it was like 6-5, 7-2. Like it was insane. But that playoff run from Erik Karlsson was legitimately outrageous, specifically due to that fucking 150-foot home run saucer pass tape to tape to noted best friend Mike Hoffman.
I was wondering if you would note the best friendship.
Who immediately proceeds to take the puck and then Forsberg on Tuukka Rask. That was one of the sickest playoff goals I've ever seen in my life. Charlie McAvoy was on Chicklets like that summer, and he was like, that was the best dash I've ever eaten in my life. He was like, I'm honest, I had to just like skate by like nice pat Eric. Like it was fucking unbelievable. But yeah, I don't know. Pittsburgh, it just confuses me. Again, I mean, realistically, you see a lot of the good, and then like I feel like it takes no time at all. One minor breakdown, it's going in the net every fucking.
See, I'm not confused at all. I'm confused how it got to this, but like I watched the game and it makes total sense. Like no defense, no goaltending, offense looks great, and we're gonna have another season where we waste Crosby and Malkin somehow defying time, and it's like, oh no, we're still gonna probably barely miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
What about your boys though? Like you have been a little unhinged lately, more so than normal.
Yeah, so I'm just not. So Boston Bruins, because they've played so many games, they're still technically second in the Atlantic. I think on like on point percentage, I think they're fifth. I mean, realistically, again, I picked them to finish third in the division. I'll probably be more comfortable with fourth now that I'm just watching Tampa be terrifyingly good.
One injury is all it takes.
Yeah, but with the Bruins, dude, my thing is I am just not used to this where, like, weirdly, they're now becoming the, like, oh, the Bruins are, they always were hammer the under, obliterate the over right now, because the top guys so far fucking stink. Like, they, like, Pasternak's getting his points or whatever, and he does it. I mean, he does the same shit where it's like he makes 5 or 6 legitimately unbelievable plays in the course of a game. And some of the, like, I don't give, like, that man could do whatever he wants in the ice. I will never get mad. I don't give a fuck. Like, when he turns the puck over on the power play, like dangling at the fucking blue line, and they go in for a shorthanded breakaway, I'm like, I don't care. He pulls it off 60% of the time. Anyway, works 100% of the time, 60% of the time. 60% of the time, 100% of the time. But Brad Marchand's been very hit or miss. Like, he's had some ridiculous turnovers. Montgomery lost his mind on him in the middle of the game, which I don't think has ever happened. But the top guys,
Marchand or to anyone?
Marchand.
Okay.
Well, no. Well, Montgomery openly screaming at a player directly.
Okay.
Since he got to Boston, he's
so a little different than him calling Pastrnak a chicken shit in the presser.
Yeah, different. Yeah. But the video that I put out was like the Boston Bruins. There's this Italian soccer player who was like in a press conference. He was like, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. It's like, it's how they are, dude. But, like, I'm not used to seeing the high event hockey, but they are being saved by what may go down as the greatest line in hockey history, the fourth line of Cole Koepke, Johnny Beecher, and Mark Kastelik. They have, I looked up the underlying numbers. They have 24% of their shifts start in the offensive zone. They have been on the ice for 8 goals for, 0 against. Their expected goals for is like 75%. And Mark Kastelik is a point per game player. Cole Koepke is a point per game player. Johnny Beecher has a couple points. Like, they're the best line going on the team right now. Like, and they are the only 3 guys that consistently have played well so far. Lindholm had a really nice start, cooled off last couple games, but, like, 1 turnover on the power play, and I'm expecting a shorthanded goal. Like, I think they've given up 10 shorthanded breakaways. Like, they just look so unreliable. And the second that Utah tied it up, like, the Bruins were kicking the shit out of them in the third period, and it was 1 fucking breakdown, 1 turnover, ends up in the back of their net. And the second they went to overtime, they had 0% chance of winning that hockey game. Like, they just don't inspire confidence whatsoever. But again, I think for me, my negativity stems from the fact that, like, I am just not used to seeing a team in Boston give up a million scoring chances per game. Like, their one calling card, the reason they've been good forever, has been their back end, and they have been horrible defensively, like atrocious. So they're still a good hockey team. They'll finish 3rd or 4th for me, I'm guessing. Like, I'm still holding to that, but, like, boy, those top guys need to get going here, because, like, when it's bad, it is ugly. And it's infuriating to watch. So that's where I land on them.
Can't imagine that feeling. Speaking of infuriating to watch, Mateo asks, are Nashville getting James Haggins?
Yeah, okay. So this is another one I wanted to mention through when we talk about the NHL. I really regret not going with my gut on Nashville. Like, I think they're gonna figure it out eventually, but it's going to take a while. When you spend that much money, you bring that many, like, top players in, and, like, all 4 lines as a result look different. Your D looks different. It's going to be I think they're going to be fine. Like, but I definitely regret, like, being, like, going against my gut and putting them second in the Central, because, like, they're, like, it's not like they're losing and getting unlucky. Like they look
They're just bad.
Like they look bad. And they've only
if it makes you feel any better, my number 2 team is Colorado. So, there's that. Which team are you more worried about?
Probably Colorado because Georgiev, actually. But it looks like Nishushkin's going to be joining the team soon. Didn't know that was going to be that fast. And I mean, they can still score. And I mean, a couple of the losses they had, like that when they played the Bruins, they probably should have beat the Bruins. The Bruins were literally like trying to lose that hockey game, which again was just infuriating me. But like Georgiev is legitimately a huge problem for them. Like they will be controlling an entire period and give up one shot. I mean, the Anaheim game that they won in overtime, like, good Lord, they had 50 shots to like 14 and they went to go to fucking overtime because Georgiev like turned the puck over by like the net and like Carlson just poked it in. Shout out Leo Carlson, my son. But like he is a problem for them. And like a Noonan's off to a slow start too. I mean, realistically, as a whole, they are off to an extremely slow start. So I'm honestly more worried about them specifically because of the goaltending. Like, again, I think Nashville is just taking a while to really gel and figure out how to play together, which always happens when you bring in that many, like 3 or 4 top players. When you bring them in, that's always going to take a minute to adjust. But like, I'm pretty confident Saros will be able to at least cover up more than he has so far as they figure that out. Georgia, like, it doesn't matter if Colorado figures it out. Like, they could give up 12 shots and they're still going to have to score 4 goals.
Yeah. It's bad for both. That's for sure.
Yeah. If they both go another 5 games and only win like 1 or 2, like already the math becomes not great. Like when you look at it and like it gets to the point where it's like for the remaining 55, 60 games, they have to win. Their point percentage needs to be like 800 to like squeak in. Then you're like, uh-oh, like that's okay. That's a massive issue. But like, I mean, what, they played 4 or 5 games each. Again, the one I'm worried about would be Colorado because of the goaltending. Like, it's like so bad.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, Colorado, it's a health thing, which who knows if that gets sorted out. And Nashville, I do think they figure it out. It's just how long does it take? And my gut was like 3 was their floor, right? And obviously it's early. Like by the end of the month, we could easily be like, oh, they figured it out. Cool. But I did not expect it to like look this bad. I didn't think that the growing pains and the adjustments were going to be this bad. Like they're really bad.
Yeah, and I mean, another team that I should have gone with my fucking gut with, Winnipeg.
I don't believe
Still
it.
Fun. Still fun.
Still fun.
Still
I'm not ready to believe it.
One big reason that I'm ready to like be closer to fully buying in is Nick Ehlers looks fucking incredible. Like, he looks so fucking good. Kyle Connor's going to put up 40 in his sleep without having to do anything else. Scheifele looks incredible.
Scheifele does look really good.
Perfetti had a massive game. I think he had like 3 or 4 points the other night.
He skates a little bit freer when he doesn't have a wire on.
Yeah, but he's not weighed down by a wire, you know? And I mean, Hellebuck. And the guy that I mentioned, Dylan Sandberg, looks fucking awesome. Like, so I'm like way closer specifically because like the Sandberg thing, but like Ehlers, that's huge. If he can get back to being the Nick Ehlers that we all know and love.
So hang on. Let me make sure I'm not speaking on my ass here. Yeah. As I thought, they look good. Who have they had to do it against so far? again, it's kind of like the Minnesota Wild thing where they look good and they haven't trailed at all. They haven't played anybody, largely. Like, they beat the shit out of the Oilers, who did not look like the Oilers, and that wasn't because of the Jets.
Still look bad.
They beat the Blackhawks. They beat the Wild in overtime on a back-to-back for the Wild. They beat the shit out of the Sharks, and they beat the Penguins. Like, I don't see that as a proof point for me. And now they've got Blues, Kraken, Flames. Like, they got a decent stretch here of not having to worry too much. I wonder what it's going to look like for the following month when they have to play good teams. That's when I'll decide. I'm not saying that like it means they're not good. I'm saying I'm reserving judgment until they play a stretch of good teams. That's all.
Yeah, you know, and part of that too, though, and I go back and forth on this. Like, sometimes I think like a really weak schedule to start the season, obviously it's a good thing because you're going to bank points, but even just the confidence you get, because I mean, again, they just look so, and I fucking
they think it too, they feel it,
and like they have some ridiculously good hockey players, so when they're confident and they're going, like, let's say they played every top team to start, they were like 500, you're already fucking exhausted 8 games in, and like having to fight it or like really fucking ball out to win games. But like just the confidence that they can get just from like the first 10 or 11 games being a relatively weak schedule, paired with the fact that the players are ridiculously good. Like, I think that you just take that momentum into the tougher stretches, which again, they're eventually going to hit this point in the schedule. They're playing like every top team. But like they've just got so much momentum behind them. And again, like they still have Hellebuck back there. Like, that's a pretty good guy to like have to lean on in the regular season. So again, I'm like closer to like believing that they're legit, and they fucking should have just. So I remember talking like, God damn, why am I putting this? I was like looking through their roster as we were doing that. Like, fuck. I was like, God damn it. I was like, this. They're gonna make it look stupid.
Anisha and I did an exercise before the season where like we did a love-hate matrix. So it was like we both had to pick a team in the Central that we love to love. So like a favorite that we think is going to be good, one that we love to hate. So it's one that like everyone expects to be bad that will. But then there was the flip, which is like, I hate that I love this team because like everyone else says I shouldn't, but I do. And then the hate or love to hate, hate to hate, which is like, I think this team's going to be bad, but I don't feel good about it, and they're probably going to stick it up my hoop. That was Winnipeg for me. I'm like, oh, man. Which, weirdly, Isha was on the opposite side. He's like, I hate to love them. Like, okay.
Interesting.
But, yeah, I didn't know how that worked. But, yeah, it was less about them, just like it usually is for the Wild, right? Like, I'm usually not ranking the Wild based on how good they are. It's like, okay, how much did these other teams go up and down? I know the Wild, they're going to fall somewhere between, like, 3 and 6. So where do they fit with all that? And that's where Winnipeg fell for me this year. So far, doesn't look good. But again, we'll do a way deeper evaluation on all of this come like American Thanksgiving. What a crock of shit.
As many say, Thanksgiving. As this more well known. Taking that. Yeah.
What's a Canadian pilgrim look like?
I am not gonna get us canceled right now.
Oh, I really thought we could just be done for the night. All right. Real quick, gotta shout out our friends at Barrel Theory. I had a Brett Marshall beer, which for those who don't know, that means a sour. Not typically my go-to, but this thing here, Z, called Brunch So Hard. It is literally a better version of a mimosa with a lot more percentage to it, so it was delicious. But let's quick
wait real quick though.
Yeah.
I just had a couple other things I wanted to mention the NHL realm.
Oh, do you?
New Jersey, very good. One of the guys that I mentioned that was like, give him more of a look and he's gonna look real good. Paul Cotter. 6 points in 8 games, 5 goals. Stefan Nason looks fucking incredible for them. He fought Duhaime the other day. Duhaime did not lose. But Nason looks really good for New Jersey back there again. And Nico Heischer's got 5 fucking goals through 8 games. All of a sudden, maybe he was going to abandon a little bit of defense, just go for offense here. But my God, they're getting even scoring throughout the lineup. Even Kovacevic, another guy that I really like that signing. We thought they might be like a 6, possibly a 7D. He's got 5 points for the first 8 games. They look really, really, really good. But I was very happy for Paul Cotter. And shout out Seamus Casey, this first 4 games in the NHL. He had 4 shots on goal and 3 goals. And all 3 were outrageous. Like, they were the sickest goals possible. Like, he looks fucking real good too.
Okay, how about this one, Z? The one that we all called in the preseason. There's chatter already for Tom Wilson to be on Team Canada. What? What happened? What did he do this offseason?
Yeah, well, again, so I was gonna go to Washington next. Again, one of the things I was like, if they're gonna if Tom Wilson can get back to like being that premier power forward, they're gonna be a very good team. And what's he got now? 5 goals in 4 games, got 6 points. Washington, like, they're gonna dip down because like the offense that they're generating, which they absolutely did not generate whatsoever last year. They were just relying on good goaltending and like low event hockey. They are like generating the most offense in the league right now, just in terms of like possession numbers and expected goals. But Tom Wilson looks very good. I mean, he's got 5 goals. I think he has like 12 shots. He's shooting like 40%, which, you know, I'm sure he'll maintain that throughout the year. But like, even a guy like Jacob Chikrin, who is facilitating offense, like not just by getting points, even though he does have 3 in those 4 games, like the ability to skate the puck out and transport it from the defensive zone to the offensive zone, that's been a huge help for them. Matt Wall looked good before he got hurt. But like, they just look like so much more of a well-balanced offensive team. And like PLD looks like he's trying. So, you know, that's unfortunately a pretty low bar to like, you know, have to hit, but like he's engaged and trying. So like, that's something. He's got 2 points in those 4 games. Mangiapane looks really good. Kind of just filling that middle 6, like a little bit of everything role. He's got a couple points in those 4 games, but they're getting scoring throughout the lineup, and they're getting like offensive help through like transporting the puck and a couple points from their back end, which is huge for them. So again, I was pretty confident that they would be a good hockey team, and it's going about as well as they could have possibly hoped for so far. So they look really, that's a fucking brutal team to play against too, because they've just got so many dudes that are big, physical, and can score, and they're scary.
Yep, I'm wrong about them so far. Got to throw this one in from Ben B before we transition to prospects. And Ben, I might need you to throw in more context here because maybe I'm confused, but just curious, if the Avs wanted Gus and offered Mikko, what would you do? I hope this doesn't mean Mikko Rantanen, because that's just not really a hypothetical worth exploring. Joe Sakic might need to be doing like an ayahuasca trip or something for this to even remotely be possible.
Yeah, I mean, he would but immediately ask for like Kaprizov or Boldy.
Yeah, right. Would you be willing to trade Gus in division if you got a good enough return?
I mean, good. If the return is good, yeah, you make that any trade.
Okay. Spoke Z. What would you want in a return for Philip Gustafsson? Besides Mikko Rantanen.
You need at least top
First
6 top 6 forward picks. Probably. I mean, that's tough to just throw a rant like. So I mean, when you look at it right now, you're like, "Fuck no." It's like.
Okay, here's my question, because I asked Joe this on last week's hot take segment of the podcast, and if you're in the summer and you're Bill Guerin and you can't trade Philip Gustafsson, are you going into the season with a plan of like, oh yeah, if he looks good, we trade him then, or not? Because like if not, then there's no world where he gets traded, because if he sucks, no one wants him. And if he's good and you're not willing to trade him because he's good, that means he's not going anywhere. So do you think coming out of the summer, Guerin's like, yeah, he's here all year? Or is there some hope of like, oh, hopefully he looks good and we can move him?
I would imagine he was probably in the boat of like, get a decent enough sample of both him and Fleury, and like ideally Wallstedt would have not started the way that he started in Iowa, which by the way, not his fault. That team looks fucking awful. Fleury's played one game, didn't look good. So like,
which also, if you told me at the beginning of the year that Gustafsson was just going to play every game to start the year, I would have been surprised.
Yeah, right.
Based on the 3-goalie rotation that we had all been promised.
Right, yeah. I would imagine he wanted to see us a decent enough. I don't think he would have been planning on trading in like October or early November. It would have been probably like you get, 10 games of each from each guy? Because I'm sure they were probably like, most realistic scenario is they're both fine and like basically split 50-50. Best case, Gustafsson's getting more than the 50-50 split, but not by much. But so far, like Gustafsson's obviously been like way too good to not play, and you need to bank those points early. So like we've only seen one game of Fleury. But I would imagine if he was like seriously exploring that Gustafsson trade, he would have at least wanted to see a good enough sample size from both guys. So I don't think like a trade in October was ever probably something that would have been all that realistic anyways. And I mean, again, we'll see what happens the next couple of weeks here. But like at this point, the way it's, I mean, I would be surprised if the trade happened. But again, we are 4-5 games in?
5 games in, so everything's been decided.
Yeah, exactly. We know exactly where we all stand. This is how it's going to look.